Live with Tanya.
Hi, Tanya. So it's Letitia.
Hi, Letitia. So this is the young lady who made the comment about women, the men not finding suitable women, the commitment, sex, and that comment. So I asked you to call in to please defend your comment. So I guess, or expound upon it, because I found that comment simply exasperating. So I'm glad I got you on the line. So what is your point of view?
Okay, so my point of view, my perspective is actually coming out of what I actually do. I am a professional certified matchmaker, and I am looking at and I've been at this officially for about 6 years now. So I am looking at the dichotomy between black men and black women, men and women, but I'm starting to see a more focus on black men, black women, black women. What I am saying is women still desire marriage. Women still desire companionship with black men, but they're not getting what they desire from black men. Why is that? I'm not saying that women have no value once they start having sex. I'm saying be careful, be mindful of these men that you are choosing to have sex with, to spend time with. Make sure that they deserve it. But if you're just willy-nilly busting it wide open, they're not going to see any benefit in it. They're not going to want to get married because the main sole purpose for a man to settle down, one of the reasons, is sex. If you listen to men and you listen to what they're saying, you listen to what they want and what they desire, they will tell you. So if men are the ones who are doing the asking, then women have to ask themselves, am I doing what it is that they desire of me? Am I giving him what he wants? Because you have to, and I'm not saying women shouldn't qualify men, because women definitely need to qualify the man that they're wanting to be with or marry. But if you are giving your time, if you're having sex with a man and you're not bothering to figure out what it is he wants from you, if he wants long-term commitment or if he wants to marry you, you're simply wasting your time unless you want to have sex too. But then if it's just a sexual exchange, if it's an equal sexual exchange, then what's the problem?
Can we rewind? Can you hear me through the phone?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So the first part of your statement was that men are not seeing the benefit in marriage anymore. And then you also state that the main reason that men are getting married is for sex and that they're not finding suitable mates out there. I really am trying to understand this point of view because this is it's tiresome. I'm finding it really tiresome. It makes me feel fatigued. And I really want you to explain, your point of view, because I'm hoping that there's some depth that I'm just not grasping somewhere.
Okay, as a matchmaker who has been doing this for years, I'm fatigued myself. I am fatigued at the fact that men are coming to me and saying, this is what I want, and I'm not able to find that.
So what is it that they're saying? So hold on, what is it that they're saying that they want, that you are seeing that women out here just don't have? What are you seeing?
Cooperation.
Okay.
Submission, femininity, kindness, being considerate. Those are the main aspects that they're looking for.
So let's talk about this. You say cooperation, submission, femininity, and what else? I missed the last two.
Kindness and consideration.
Okay, so cooperation, submission, femininity, kindness, and cooperation, right? Consideration and cooperation. Or consideration and kindness. So there's no cooperation. The cooperation was the first one. Okay. And you're saying that you're just not finding that out there, right? That these men are just so frustrated that they're not finding these things, right? There's a few different things that I don't know if you're just talking about Black people, right?
No, I'm talking about men in general, but since the conversation is revolving around, I mean, you're a Black woman with a majority Black audience, so I'm just keeping it in the realm of Black people for the sake of conversation. But I forgot to also add that they're looking for an attractive woman also. So beauty is a part, and men also want youthfulness.
This is what I'm hearing, right? This is what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that, I'm not exactly sure why you added that the youth and beauty at the end, when we know from dealing with men that the very first thing that they ask for is their version of beauty, and they're interested in youth. And then they want all of those things that they're asking for. They want the submission and the cooperation and all of those things to come from a young, beautiful woman when the men may not be providing the youth themselves. So we're talking about older men coming forward, looking for younger women who want to submit to them in the heyday of these young women's lives. And there's a reason why there's a mismatch. And if I can tell you just from the small time that I've spent interviewing men and getting them and getting men into the database, that's what they lead with. They lead with they want the youth, they want the beauty, they lead with that. And then they want all of the other things as an aside. I want to find a woman who has all of these things that are compatible with me, that also has all of these things. So I want her to be beautiful and young first and foremost. First and foremost. And if she isn't beautiful and young, he doesn't care about those other things. This is what I'm saying when we talk about the vibration at which men resonate. So they're like, oh, we got to have this on the outside. And he thinks that it's going to be easy to be able to find the person who he considers to be beautiful by society standards, a woman who is young by society standards. They're looking for these women that have been promoted as what our society considers beautiful, like these Instagram models. They want to try to convert these women who are Instagram models, who have all of these men throwing flowers down at their feet, and they want these women to then come and submit to them and give them the things that a mature woman would shift herself into by the mere fact of being mature. And they want all of those things. I mean, well, you know what you were like at 19. I know what I was like at 19. And I sure as hell wasn't about to effing submit to some older ass man. I was too busy in my patent leather going to Miami, dancing at the Fat Black Pussycats. For those of you who remember Fat Black Pussycats in Miami Beach. This is the time that you have fun. This is the time that you live life. And they want to scoop a woman out of her youth when she's living life to try to bring her into the suburbs. It's unbelievable.
Okay. Well, I listed those things that the men want, and I didn't list them in any particular order. I just randomly threw them out there. So it wasn't in any particular order, but you are correct. As you were seeing in your database, that men want beauty and youth. Now, as far as my database goes, because I don't deal with the men who want the Instagram models, I deal with professional men who are at the executive level, who are entrepreneurs and business owners. These are the epitome of quality men that your viewers, who are women, are desiring after. These are men who just want, and their average age is not old. Their average age is 45.
That ain't old?
No, that's not old for a 28-year-old woman between the ages of 28 and 35 years old. That's not old.
Okay.
These men, for the most part, do not have any children, or they want more children. And so they're looking at youthfulness because of children, because they want to have children.
Listen,
we all know, we all know that, yes, there are women who can have children beyond the age of 35, but our fertility drops and
Listen,
we become at high risk pregnancy at that time.
Listen. Listen. Evolutionarily speaking, we understand why men are attracted to youth and beauty. We understand that. Let me ask you this question: the vast majority of the people that you match, are they white? Are they black?
The vast majority of my clients are white. Because black people, for the most part, do not use a matchmaker. And I have done a poll and done my own research on this. And the reason is because of the cost, which is understandable because a matchmaker is not cheap. I am not cheap, especially dealing with the type of men that I am working with. But even still, I am now starting to talk to men, black men, who are at the same level and who are the same caliber as my non-black clients.
Right.
They're wanting the same thing. So I don't think it's a racial component. They're wanting the same thing.
Well, the only reason why I make mention of that is because you're coming with the point of reference of being a matchmaker for 6 years. However, the vast majority of your clients are white, as you say. And we're entering into this conversation and we're talking about the lack of quality of women and not being able to find what it is that they want. And in the black community, the dynamic is just in terms of women and what women are doing and cultivating, etc. It just can be different in the black community in terms of what women are doing to ready their lives for a mate.
Correct. Well, as a black woman who was raised within the black community, I mean, I wasn't raised affluent or anything. I've seen it with my own eyes what was going on. My comment for lack of sex, I mean, my comment about, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say this, and if women get mad and you get upset, then I'm just going to say it because I've been looking at this since I was a young girl. That's why I made certain decisions. I understand why women choose to deal with some of the men that they deal with. I don't. Because it's nothing but a headache. And I recognize that as a young girl.
No, hold on. Your phone cut out, so we didn't hear the last sentence you said.
Okay. I said I'm not understanding why women continue to deal with these low vibrational men who mean them no good. I recognize as a young girl, seeing how they operate as a teenage girl, going from girl to girl, trying to be the big guy in high school, being the big guy on campus, not paying any women any type of attention, not having any care or consideration. But that's the guy she went for. That's the guy she wanted. She didn't want the guy who was getting the straight A's, the guy who was in band, or the guy who had plans to go to college to make something of himself. And then you get with these low vibrational men, and you know they're no good. But since you accept this behavior over and over again, I get it. You want to change them. You want to fix them.
I feel like we're really jumping into a whole completely different topic, because now when we start talking about people's attachment style, their abandonment issues, and their life path, and what lessons they came into this life to learn, and who it is that they choose to be with and learn their lessons from, as well as their mommy issues and their daddy issues. We're getting into whole other topics. Yeah, when people are young and dumb, they make a lot of mistakes. We are all there's you know what, and I'm really glad that you yourself, that you saw very early on. You said that you were raised in a 2-parent household. I'm not sure if you said that or not.
No, I said I'm a black woman in the black community.
Oh, in the black
community.
I've seen
it all for myself.
Okay.
I get all of that, but this goes back to what the comment I made and why I made it.
About pussy and not giving up.
To be young, and you can't expect to just be young and dumb and think there's not going to be any consequences for your bad behavior. The
Yeah,
same goes for black men, and
yeah,
I tell them the same thing.
yeah, I'm so
If you're going to
sorry.
be out
I'm
here
sorry.
doing God
Listen,
knows
hold
what,
on. I don't want
you're
to have
going
to
to
put
have
you.
consequences.
I don't want to have to put you on mute because I just want to look. The prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until a person is 25 years old. So yeah, they're going to make stupid, dumb decisions because their brain isn't even fully formed. So they're not thinking about consequences. They're just young. They're not thinking. It's just life. This is the nature of the beast. And it's like now that we get old, we want to look back on these young people out there living their lives in while their brain is still forming, and we want to pretend like that's not normal for them. It's normal for a young woman and a young man to still be working through the stuff that they need to work through in life.
You're old enough to engage in sex and understand that. You're old enough to drink at a certain age before the age of 25. You're old enough to sign up and go off to war before you turn 25. So at what point do we stop making excuses that you're just young and dumb when we know that at 18, even though your brain is not fully developed, some people make good decisions and some people don't. If that was the case, no one would make good decisions.
No, but people, listen, it's scientifically, it's a scientific fact. The prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until around the age of 25. Because the government decides that they want to, after prohibition ended, the government decided that they wanted people to begin drinking at a certain age. In England, you could start drinking at 16, it's legal. So whether or not a government decides that a person can start purchasing alcohol and begin to start deteriorating their liver at a certain age, or because a government decides that a person can be sent off to war at a certain age, doesn't mean that the brain is fully developed. And it's like, this is not us making excuses. Yes, there are good decisions that young people make. However, as adults, we have to give the leeway for people who are young doing stuff that young people do. I mean, anybody who has helped raise a child sees the shift in processing ability that exists from babyhood to adulthood. The way that their brain works, like, you don't have, I mean, okay.
I just have to vehemently disagree. You have to understand the consequences.
Okay.
You are, yes, I understand what you're saying about the science of the brain and all that. But the fact of the matter is, you still have to understand there's consequences. Yes, young children commit murder, they commit crimes, but guess what? They still have to answer for that.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the commitment and sex part. So you're saying that men are not committing because women are having sex without commitment. Let's talk about that and then go forward.
I mean, if you were a man and you're able to have sex without having to put a ring on her finger or anything else, wouldn't you go for that without going through all of that? So having an attachment, and then you go through a divorce and you lose your house, your car, your kids, and your money? Would you rather go through that, risking that just to have sex, or would you just have sex because she's willing to have it and you don't have to do anything else for it? You ain't got to take her out on a date. You don't have to get to know her. You barely have to know her last name. Women are saying they want commitment. Women are saying they want marriage. And I'm trying to tell women this is why they're not doing it.
So you believe that women should wait? You believe that women should wait until they're married to have sex?
No, that's a straw man argument because that's not what I'm saying.
You just said that they're not. I'm sorry. Hold on. We could rewind the tape on this because I'm listening to you as you speak. You said that they're not getting commitment, they're not getting a ring before they have sex. So I asked you whether or not you feel women should wait until marriage to have sex, and then you say that that's a straw man argument. Come on.
You didn't ask me that. You said, so you're saying women should have sex. I'm sorry, I apologize if I didn't hear it as a question. I heard it as a statement. No, I'm not saying that women should wait until marriage to have sex. Sex is a beautiful thing. I'm saying wait till you get to know these men and make sure that they want the same thing that you want. If commitment, long-term commitment is what you want, marriage is what you want, make sure that you get that from him before you have sex with him.
You know what?
If you want marriage, make sure you get that before. Make sure you know what his intentions are before you have sex with him.
Okay. You know what? I think, and this is part of the reason that this is just so painful for me. Because I think that we act like we forget what it's like to be out there. And we coddle men and we skirt over their bad behavior. You think in the dating process is girls out there pushing up on these men, trying to get inside their pants? It's like we've made up dating like this battlefield where we are pumping girls' heads up with these fairy tales, and then we have men who are primed out there to go out there on the hunt. And we got men out there who are on their best behavior, filling these girls' heads up like we hear and we program girls with all of this love at first sight. It's kismet, this powerful loving feeling, getting swept off of your feet, getting swept up in the emotion. And these men out here are pushing. There was a man who called in earlier, I believe it was Kalen was his name, and he talked about men setting the tone. And this is why I make my videos, and I make my videos to women about really standing in their power and opening up their eyes to the fuckery that exists out there. Because if you leave it up to the direction of men, it's like we should be able to trust the direction of men. But the direction that men are going, and they have the nerve to stand up here and say, oh, I don't want a woman who busts open her gap for me, when he's pushing from the time before they even go on the first date, he's pushing for sex. They get out on the first date, he's pushing for sex. He's pushing. He's the one pushing, not getting to know her. If most girls had the opportunity to make the decision, they would freaking wait. In China, where there are less women than men, the men wait for sex now. But nowadays we got men out there pushing for sex. And then we turn around and say, why did you have sex with him? Why was he pushing for it so goddamn hard?
If you had friends pushing you to jump off of a bridge, would you do it? No.
If jumping off of that bridge sent my body into shockwaves and transported me into heaven momentarily, and I come back down onto this earth, and if jumping off of this bridge made me feel like I could finally fulfill my life's purpose of having this family and all of this stuff, and I had a person who I'd been programmed to see as a leader leading me to jump off the bridge, and I knew that I would survive from jumping off the bridge, may have some pleasure and get some commitment from it too, I may jump off of the bridge. If I knew that I would survive, I jumped off of bridges before. I jumped off of a bridge in Argentina. And it was life-changing for me when I jumped off of this bridge. It changed my life.
But these women they're not getting that in the end. They're not. And it's time and time again. They're not getting that in the end. They're not getting the commitment. They're not getting the stability.
Right, but you know what?
Nothing.
Listen.
I
feel like you have cognitive dissonance, because you're calling these young ladies women and acting like they're making decisions that grown women make, when these are young ladies who are being tricked because they're ignorant and they're naive. Because the men, on average, the men like women who are 7 years younger than them on average. And then you even came on the line talking about 12 years is not a big difference. So we have men who are 38 coming upon 25-year-old women, pushing them for sex, and they're trusting this man who is leading them into the abyss. And this is a grown-ass man who should know better, getting with a girl whose prefrontal cortex is barely developed fully. I'm going to let you finish your statement. Go ahead.
What are they mothers to protect them? They're mothers and their fathers to protect them from such men. To protect them and say, hey, you don't have to give in to peer pressure. I mean, it just sounds like such an excuse.
Okay.
I don't care if he's pushing up on you. You can just say no. Just say no. That's an excuse to say, oh, because he's pushing up, so I got to give in. No, you do not. And that's what we need to be telling young ladies.
You know
just
what?
Because he's pushing up you doesn't mean you have to give in.
You know what? I read this study, and I was surprised when I saw it. There was this study that was done in Kenya where they spent all of this time teaching sex education to girls, rape prevention to girls, right? And rape continued to persist. The issues that come along with these acts continue to be pervasive. When they began teaching these things to the boys, rape cut out dramatically. When they started teaching what consent is, when they started teaching these things to boys, that's when the numbers began to dwindle. It's like we keep talking about what some girl should do, some naive, inexperienced. It's like I don't understand how we women grow up and then we pretend like we were never young and inexperienced, like some older man didn't come around and convince us that we were going to live whatever fantasy, whatever it is that he was proposing. And that we trust.
One, I'm not talking about very young girls. I'm talking about women who are in their 20s.
That's too young.
We're talking about rape now. I'm not talking about rape. I'm talking about consensual sex.
I'm talking about. I did not say. Listen, I did not say the word rape. I did not say that word.
You just brought in that word. You said rape when they teach young boys about rape in Africa.
When they teach them about consent. When they teach them about consent, because unfortunately, listen, coercion is a form of assault. And that is many men's strategy for being able to have intercourse. Let's not pretend. Let's not act like many men are not using coercion to get young women into the bed. Right? And so what I'm talking about is not so much the words associated with the study. What I'm talking about is our emphasis and our focus on teaching girls that they have to be these perfect mental beings who are the exemplary example of all things virtuous and stoic. In the face of all obstacles, in the face of all pressure, in the face of all coercion, a woman must operate perfectly at all times without faltering. Otherwise, it is her fault. But we don't take the time to be able to focus that energy towards men, educating men. And then these are the people who are supposed to be the leaders. But where are they leading the girls? They're the ones leading the girls into premarital sex. They're the ones leading the girls, but we don't talk to them. We keep talking about girls being the shining example of everything perfect and never making any mistakes.
No one is saying women have to be perfect, and you keep saying girls. I'm not talking about girls. A woman in her 20s, that's a grown woman.
That's a young lady.
But that's a young lady, but she's still a woman.
Okay.
She's still capable of producing a child. She's still
a 12-year-old is capable of producing a child.
18. She's over the age of 18. She's capable of producing a child. She's capable of making decisions. So, I mean, a lot of these women do consider themselves to be grown. They don't consider themselves
I considered myself grown when I was 16. When I left for college, I thought I was grown. What I'm saying is, scientifically speaking, the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until the age of 25. We're acting like these girls are going out into a fair fight, and they're not going out into a fair fight. They're going out into a situation with a person who is much more mature, much more advanced, who has a lot more knowledge, whose prefrontal cortex is already formed, and they're manipulating these young ladies, guiding them into situations that are not in the young ladies' benefits. And then we come down and we say, why are you doing that? You're old enough to know better, when really they're not. Their prefrontal cortex is not even fully developed. You know what? The phone call has gone on a lot longer than I expected it to. I appreciate you calling in. This has been a 30-minute phone call, so I hope that over this time you've had a chance to express yourself. There are other people who want to call in. I appreciate you having your opportunity to come forward and speak. You and I, we just have vastly different views about this, and I respect your view. I respect you, and I respect your right to have your views. We just have different views.
Yes, I said that before, but I love your show. I love your facial expressions, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much, and you have a good evening.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, make sure that you subscribe, and hit the bell notifications to be notified of new videos. Leave a comment below, share the video, and come over to TanyaTKO.com to subscribe to my personal mailing list and drop me a message of a viral story that you'd like for me to cover. See you on the other side. Peace.